Hey, we are live. Chef Eric here, the Grateful Chef. That's me. Coming to you live from our kitchen, from our set, the Grateful Chef kitchen set. Here in our home, we welcome you into our home each and every week for the most part. Been sort of like on a little summer schedule, it seems. This summer we missed last week. We actually were going to miss this week, but changed plans earlier this morning. So, of course, I'm bringing to you another great episode of Cooking in the Kitchen with Chef Eric. And Lynn is making a couple of adjustments on the camera. But who is this Lynn? Lynn is the camera woman, the producer, and the wind beneath my wings. So, welcome back to everybody who's been here before. Hello to any new people that are seeing the show for the first time. Please chime in, say your name, where you're from, etc., etc. Welcome you to the family. Almost 800 people strong in this group, and I'm really proud of that. And I'm grateful, as always, for you guys for joining in and cooking with me in the kitchen. And it is with me because we're all in this together, actually. I'm not doing this alone. It's us. And please feel free to make comments, ask questions. Lynn will read them at random for the most part. And yeah, we're continuing our summer fair. Summer fair, because it is summertime. Hope you're all having a great summer like we are. Anyway, so summer fair. Today we're doing Cioppino. You know, hopefully you saw my video on all that Alaskan fish that my buddy shipped over to me. I'm kind of warehousing it for him. He puts it in order. I bring him what he needs. I'm getting some of the fish for myself. And one of the things was halibut. And so we've got this beautiful Alaskan halibut that was sent, and I can't wait to try it for the first time. So Cioppino, what is Cioppino? It is kind of like an Italian seafood stew, and it's got all sorts of shellfish and fish, and you can mix and match whatever's available in your market at the time. You know, you can make it for 2 people, you can make it for 20 people. It's a great dish, and the key elements of the dish are the broth. And then, of course, the freshest seafood that you can get. So we are using today in our Cioppino, we've got shrimp. So there's 4 of us. So I'm doing 8 shrimp, nice big shrimp, and I actually peeled them, deveined them, and they're ready to go. We are doing some scallops, and what I chose because they look better in the market were the bay scallops rather than the big sea scallops. So I got about a pound here, which is these are really sweet and tender and nice. And we have some squid because as I was getting the fish, the gentleman had bought out some beautiful, fresh, clean squid. So you've got the body, you've got the legs, it's all clean, ready to go. I'm going to cut those into rings. And we have some clams. So I bought the little little neck clams. And of course this beautiful halibut that I cut into nice big pieces so they don't cook too quick. And that's a key thing about this dish is cooking all the seafood so every one of them is cooked perfectly and it's done at the right time. Yes, Lynn?
So Michael Gassell said, "Good evening, Chef. The beard is getting longer, and are you gonna audition for Santa Claus this week?"
That's it. I'm going to do that. I don't know. Who knows?
And Tom D'Elia.
Hi, Tom.
Oh God, I love
Cioppino. Another one where you should have been here, but you know what? I'll be doing this for a long time. So, again, feel free. Invite yourself over.
I also saw Scott Corbin out there.
Hey,
Jay
Scott.
Pepper. I saw Todd out there.
Jay, Todd, in the studio audience are my parents. They're here from Florida on their like a final leg of their trip here before the 4 of us go off to Barcelona in 3 weeks. We're super excited about that. So let me put this board away because this isn't a talk show, right, Lynn?
It's some days hard to tell.
Wise guy. It is a cooking show. We're going to get right to cooking. So here's what we do. I'm using a recipe that I found online. A lot of good recipes. That happens to be from a restaurant in San Francisco called the Tadich Grill. Tadich Grill is the oldest running restaurant in San Francisco. We went there, did not have their Cioppino because we had eaten like 6 different places that day. So we kind of ate light. We wanted to get one more meal in before we left. So this is based on their recipe. I'm going to post it on the, once this video posts, I'm going to post it in the comments for you guys. Yes, Lynn?
Jay Tepper asked if there's any pasta with that.
There is no pasta. It is served. I mean, you could serve it with rice if you want. It's typically, it's not a fruit de mar where you would serve it over pasta. It's really a seafood stew. So you would just eat it. Well, I am going to serve it with some crusty sourdough bread because not only is this an Italian dish, but it is wildly popular in San Francisco. So a lot of Bay Area shrimp and bay scallops. You'll find this everywhere in San Francisco. Yes.
And we also have Susan Seckle said, Cioppino yum.
Hi, Sue.
Kevin says, hello.
Hello, Kevin.
All right.
So before I get talking about the more about the seafood, I want to talk about the broth. So I've already made the broth because you have to simmer it for 2 hours. But it really couldn't be simpler. It's a little bit of oil, olive oil and butter in a pan. I used my Imusa cast aluminum pot, a little butter and olive oil. You do chopped onions, chopped carrots, chopped celery. You do some fennel, and you cook that up, and I put the garlic in there, also nice chopped garlic. And then you put in a can of crushed tomatoes and a little tomato paste, and you mix that all together. I did use some of my lobster stock. Hopefully you guys knew that I made lobster stock out of the lobster bodies and shells that I took home from our time in the Hamptons. So I took them home. I made a beautifully rich lobster stock. So I used that lobster stock, and I put a little bit of Pernod in the broth, and then I let it simmer real slow for 2 hours, and it very concentrates. And this is where you can't just follow the recipe. This is supposed to be a little bit soupy, so I ended up adding more lobster stock because I wanted that extra liquid in there so you can dunk your bread and all that stuff. So that's what I did. An interesting part about this recipe that I think differs from a lot, they actually have some of this seafood being dredged in a little seasoned flour and then cooked, you know, just browned in a pan really quickly, 2 minutes maybe. And then once those are browned, they go right into the pot, and you just do the next one and the next one. So that's what we're going to do today. I have my dredging station. I want to put a little bit of heat on the stock. And if you want to come over here, Lynn, we'll show them what this looks like. I will get rid of the great big shiny lid.
I appreciate that. So does everybody else.
All right, so I want you to see how rich this is. I'm going to do a flyby, a flyover.
I just need to move your stuff.
All right. So
Coming over.
I told you about the vegetables in here. There's carrots, there's onion, there's leeks, there is fennel. There's also some bay leaves in here. There's some dried oregano, dried basil, and dried thyme. And this has been simmered. You can see here on the pot where the level started, right about here. And I've reduced it down, and then I added back in some of the lobster stock because I want it to be soupy like this. You don't want it to be thick, like a beef stew. You want it to have a little soup. So that's what I've got here. I'm just going to put a little temperature on here because when I put that cooked seafood or the browned seafood in, I don't want it to be at a boil because then everything will overcook. So I just want to bring this up to temperature. It's pretty much there already because I had it on a little bit before. And we're going to get right to dredging. Dredging is a term used when you batter something or dredge it. Usually there's a breading procedure that is flour, egg wash, and then breadcrumbs. If you're going to do like a chicken parm or veal parm, that's a standard breading procedure. Flour sticks to the protein, egg sticks to the flour, and the breadcrumbs stick. So flour sticks to the protein, egg sticks to the flour, breadcrumb sticks to the egg.
Got it.
All right, good. Less yapping, more cooking. I'm going to put a little heat on this pan. And again, we're using a combination of butter and olive oil. This is an Italian dish.
So you can see where you're at.
So we're not deep frying, but I just want to have enough of the fat in the pan so we can get a nice browning of the dredged product. So I've set up a dredging station here.
What is the benefit of doing oil and butter?
So the butter at a high temperature will burn, but if you mix it with oil, it'll raise the smoke point, and then the butter in turn will flavor the oil. We're using olive oil, so it's got some flavor already, but no worries. I've never had a problem with too much butter or too much oil. So this is shallow pan frying. So we got to figure what are we going to do first. So something that takes the longest, you're going to start with, and then end up the squid I'm putting in very last minute. I'm going to cook it, and I'm going to throw it in. And again, I'm not going to have heat on this. I just want the heat that's already in there to gently cook it so nothing overcooks. That is the key. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to do the fish.
I want to back up a little bit. So
Yeah, that's a good idea.
See.
All right, so I'm going to put the fish in. And what I have here is a roasting pan. I'll show you what I'm going to do. Put on a glove so I don't get my hands too messy. And I just want to make sure that every piece of this fish is, every side is coated. Like so. And again, I'm doing it in a roasting pan just to kind of minimize the mess. It's kind of hard. Always make a mess. And then I'm just going to put it in this strainer and shake off the excess. I'm going to do them all. This way I can put them all in.
I like that you're using that whole...
Yeah, can you imagine what would happen
Good idea.
if I didn't?
Yeah. We also have Sabrina and Cioppino with us tonight.
Hi, guys. All right, so you can see that butter is foaming. All right, I'm going to turn it up, and then I can always turn it down. Again, we're looking for like 1 or 2 minutes just to brown this up. I like that sound. In goes the fish. So what's going to happen is the flour that is on this seafood is going to slightly thicken the gravy. I'll call it gravy. Cranking this up. More heat.
Come in close.
Yes. Again, we're not trying to cook the fish partially or most of the way. We're just trying to get that flour to create a little bit of a coating. Not even, it's not even going to get, you're not even looking for a typical golden brown. You just want it to firm up a little bit on the outside. I'm using my hands here. Using what God gave me here.
I'm not sure. Did you talk about the fact that a lot of times you wouldn't do it with flour? What was it?
Yeah, a lot of recipes don't call for doing this, but since it's from the Taddage Grill, the oldest running restaurant in California, I'm going to trust that they know what they're talking about. All right, so...
Have you made Cioppino before?
I have made Cioppino, and I haven't made it this way. I mean, it's basically a fish stew. You just got to get yourself a nice, flavorful broth. So I can feel that that flour has created a nice coating. I'm liking it. Flip it around. Again, we're not trying to deep fry. We are not trying to cook the fish necessarily. What this is also going to do is, my guess, is that it's going to prevent the fish from flaking apart. All right, this fish is going in. Done. Let's turn it down just a little. I'm using a fish spatula because it's got a nice slots in it to allow the oil to drip off. And you want to cut your fish nice and big for this, because again, you don't want little pieces because they will overcook in no time at all. So essentially this fish is still completely raw. Alright, and that's going in. Putting the lid on. Alright, going to our next protein. So scallops and the calamari take no time at all, so I'm going with the shrimp next. So these are big shrimp. If they were a different size, I may do it differently, but since these are so big, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do the shrimp next. And again, because the liquid is not at a boil, these are going to cook very gently, just from the heat that's already in the pot. All right, so I've got 8 shrimp. There's 4 of us, so we're going to get 2 each. So this is a great recipe. You can change the quantity of it. Awesome. So of course, I am using my Stargazer cast iron skillet. And that got a little smoky. We're putting them in.
I just Googled Cioppino.
Yeah.
So I was actually curious. Where does it come from? It's actually from San Francisco.
Ah.
And it's an Italian-American dish.
See? We learned something new together.
Yeah.
Okay, again, we just want to, ouch, get a crust. It's got a little splatter. Nice little crust. These are big. Yeah, the pan is definitely hotter than it was with the halibut. But that's okay. So we do, we adjust on the fly.
I'm going to come in close for them too, because they, they look awesome.
Go for it, because I'm pulling them out.
Woo.
Here we go. My mouth is watering, I'll have you know.
Those are absolutely beautiful.
All right, so in go the shrimp. Again, it's just a nice little crispy, light coating. I saw someone commented on the recipe when I was looking at it. You know, why would you want to, you know, coat your fish, you know, coat the seafood or fry your seafood, and you know, for a Cioppino? And I'm like, this is not really fried. It's just a light, almost like a protective coating. So I'm going to do the scallops next. No, sorry. Come over here because I'm going to cut some of the calamari. I'm going to cut it all. So here, for those not familiar with working with calamari, this is basically, I was able to get it cleaned at the Korean market. So this is basically the squid. So swims through the ocean like so. And what they do is they separate the body from the head. This is where the beak is, where the eye is, and they take all that out.
I'm going to go in closer.
And here you've got the tentacles. Okay. And you've got the body. Now typically inside here there's 2 very plastic-like fins that you pull them out. The ink sac is in here. So they squeeze it out, they rinse it out, and this is what you have. These are great for stuffing or doing what we're doing now, and that's cutting them into rings. So I'm going to cut them into rings. Not too thin, not too thick.
I'm going to come back in for that too.
All right. Okay.
That looks pretty easy.
Yep. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these legs in half because there's 4 of us. And we've got 4. All right, let's get this cut up. All right. Get all this dredged. We're going back over to the dredging station.
I'm slowly following you.
All right, I'm here. Yep.
So same dredging process?
Yep, just a little seasoned flour. You want to make sure your rings are separated. This way they don't bunch up. So far, pretty simple. Do these rings first.
No, so we're going to use the...
Yep.
Let's see your hand.
Okay. Beautiful. Now, thing about squid or octopus or calamari, the rule of thumb is cook it for 2 seconds or 2 hours. So if you overcook it at this stage, it's going to be very tough. So again, we're just doing a little flash fry. This oil's hot. And this is going to come out quicker than even the shrimp. And again, I can see that flour does its job, makes a nice little crisp coating.
I think it'll be nice for the texture. Nice texture.
Oh yeah. Tossing it around. That's it. It's coming out.
What's the difference between squid, calamari, octopus?
Well, they're of the same species, like family, but it's size. Octopus is bigger. There's probably a much more technical difference that I don't know.
Calamari comes from squid, though.
Yes.
Not octopus.
Right. All right. So that was that. It's a beautiful thing. I'm going to give this a little stir. It's my spoon. I'm going to get this seafood into the liquid. This is absolutely delicious. Nice. This is looking mighty fine.
Back over there again. Oh my God.
Look at that, babe. You're in for a treat.
Check that out.
Yeah. And then finally, we're going to do our scallops.
But not finally, because we also have clams after that too.
Yes, well, see, now the thing is, so I'm going to do the clams last because you want to deglaze this pan because there's a lot of flavor left in the pan. So I'm going to deglaze that with a liquid, scrape up the brown bits. All right. Nice, these little scallops look awesome. So I had to adjust the recipe because it actually called for the large shrimp that I showed you. And then it called for like bay shrimp. Now, of course, we're not anywhere near San Francisco Bay. And it said, or the smallest shrimp that I could find. I could have bought in very small, I could have purchased very small shrimp, frozen shrimp, like salad shrimp or anything, but they had these great scallops, so I changed it up on the fly. Woo. Nice. In they go. These are beauties.
Great.
Yep. Just enough oil left. Just put a nice little coating on there. There we go.
The LaGuercia with us?
It's LaGuercia. LaGuercia.
Okay.
I learned that this week. One of the many things I learned this week. So what's going to happen with these scallops is they are going to firm up just a bit. Could have added a little milk butter here, but it's going to be just fine.
Are you going to be using butter at some point?
Yeah, I already did. Yeah, so you can see the flour is pretty much soaked up. The oil thickened it. It smells so good. These scallops smell so sweet. All right, take my glove off. My Stargazer pan is perfect for this.
Is anything sticking?
Nope. Nothing sticking. All right, I'm putting in the scallops. And it's funny, I've never done it like this where, whenever I fry something with oil, even a shallow pan fry, you're looking for that, golden brown delicious GBD, but my brain is telling me it's got to be golden brown, but the recipe's telling me otherwise. So, all right, let's give this a quick stir so it's all in there. I may put a little bit of heat in the bottom into this pot, just to warm it up just a little bit, and we're going to get to our scallop, our clams. All right. Let me go over here real quick.
Okay.
I want to, many of you know I posted on the group that I was part of an infomercial for a product, and it has been released, and this is the Ninja Foodie Grill. Now, you're saying what was a chef doing with a product like a Ninja Foodie? This has exceeded my expectations. I didn't think it was something that I would necessarily have purchased, but this thing is amazing. It grills at really high temperature, like 550 degrees. You put a grill plate in there, you hit grill, and it will preheat. If I go maximum, it's 510 degrees. The thing gets ripping hot. You can get grill marks on meat. I cooked lamb chops in 3 minutes on this thing. It's crazy. It will also air crisp, something that intrigued me, but I never bought one. Now I have one. It roasts, it bakes, and it will also dehydrate. Really cool. A lot of people will use it a lot more extensively than I do, but I'm finding its place in my kitchen. So right now, in here, I have the loaf of sourdough that, by the way, you can bake in this thing too. But I have this loaf of sourdough, and I wanted to warm it up and crisp up the crust, and I want you to hear this. It is crispy. It's delicious. I'm going to put it on for a little bit more. I'm going to hit bake. It's at 250. You can adjust the temperature, and I'm just going to hit start and not go for 15 minutes. We'll go for 3. And that's it. And I can walk away, and it's creating an element of my menu, and I don't have to think about it. Pretty cool. All right. Here we go. Now, let me come over here. All right, so I've got some Pernod. No, where's the wine? Oh, we don't have wine. All right. I'm going to deglaze this pan with a little bit of Pernod, and you know what that means. Fire.
I like fire.
Yeah, so I'm going to bring the heat back up on this pan. I'm going to put a little heat underneath the Cioppino.
I might go the other side.
This Pinot is red, yeah? All right. And I'm going to actually be cooking the clams in the Pernod. Let them steam. So I just need a little bit, and I want to take a spatula. I'm going to use a wooden spoon so I can scrape up all these brown bits. Can you see them in the bottom of the pan? All these little brown bits. All right, I'm adding the Pernod now, honey.
Fire!
Fire!
Oh!
Yes. We're gonna add a little bit of water because we don't have wine. Imagine that. Pan's hot, so I want to scrape up the bit.
I drank all the white wine.
I could have used lobster stock here again. I could have used clam juice. So what I'm going to do is I'm putting in our clams. I'm going to cover it up, and I'm just going to let these clams steam open. That will only take a few minutes. The Cioppino is looking awesome. It's just come up to a simmer. Let's turn it down. Again, I don't want to overcook my seafood. I can see that the fish is holding its shape. Oh, this looks delicious. Look at that. How could that be bad? All right, I'm going to put this on here.
Goodbye, seafood.
Yep. Goodbye, seafood. These should take a minute, just a minute to steam.
Woo!
They're getting there. Add a little bit more water to that. So these clams are going to release their juice in here, and it's going to make a beautiful addition to our...
Where are you going?
I'm going over here because I want to chop some parsley. So that's what I'm going to finish it with, a little parsley and a little something special, which I'm going to tell you about in a second. There goes our Ninja Foodie Grill with our bread done. Just a little bit of parsley. You add that little brightness at the end.
Jonathan Donaldson said you've come a long way.
I have?
As you're doing all your videos, yep.
Nice, thank you. Thanks for saying so. I actually watched the very first video, live Facebook, that I did when I was working for a dry aging company, you know? And yeah, you are 100% correct.
He made reference to that as well.
Nice. All right, so I've got a little chopped parsley here, and then this is going to be the kill right here. This is butter that I made out of the tamale from the lobsters when I made my lobster stocking. Scooped out all the tamale, mixed it with butter, and there's going to be a little bit of this on top of each Cioppino. And
I'm going to come in real close to that for a second.
So it's a little green because the tamale is green. And then I think just because I can, this is my saffron stash. Love it. Fills the room. I'm going to put a little pinch of that on top also. How we doing here? Almost getting there. I'm going to taste my, you know, just for seasoning. That. Amazing. I do need a little bit of salt. And a little bit of pepper. Why not? All right.
You done yet?
What they say, if you're looking, you're not cooking, so I gotta stop looking.
But if you're not looking, how do you know it's done?
I don't know. Just do. All right. Any minute now.
Shaking them like popcorn.
Shaking it like popcorn.
You know how that comes out on the video, right?
Very loud.
Uh-huh.
All right, we're getting there. Stop, look, oh, it smells so good. The Cornell and the clams. Killer. All right. I think because I have so much of this butter, I'm going to get crazy right now.
Where are we adding butter to?
Right to the Cioppino.
So Kevin's asking, what is that pot?
This is an Emusa, is the company. They make this in all sorts of sizes, and this is, it's like a cast aluminum. It's very popular amongst you know, I have friends from Puerto Rico. They cook their rice and beans in this kind of pot. You can find it at most kind of South American markets. I'm sure you can find them online. I think I've even seen them at like Home Goods, you know, occasionally. So these are great. They hold their heat, and they're very lightweight. They're very inexpensive. They come in all sorts of sizes. My friend, Food Network star Carl, the Cuban Ruiz, used to use these in his restaurant, and he would do like a lobster. What would he do? Lobster Alfredo, lobster scampi. He brought this back. This was something people were cooking in pots and then bringing them right to the table. He did that. That was really one of my latest introductions to it. All right, we've got some clams opening here. Almost ready. I'm going to pull them out as they're ready because, again, I don't want them to overcook. Let's go right into the pot, just like that. We're getting there. I've said that 10 times already. We're getting there.
I don't think your clams ever cook quite as quickly as you think they do.
You know what? Mussels cook really quick.
Uh-huh.
Oh man, this looks.
I think you said that is cast aluminum.
Cast aluminum. This is everything I want a Cioppino to look like. Rich broth, not too thick, but not too thin. Awesome. Very excited. want some more. So, and of course, I'm going to want to pour this liquid in. Wake up, boys. Okay, this one's got an opening. And of course, if your clams do not open, do not eat them. You want to make sure that all your clams open. If they don't open, that means they are not alive. All right, so while that's happening, I'm going to go ahead and plate. Oh yeah, this looks amazing. All right, so I'm going to use this plate.
Okay.
All right. Get a All right, so do them in a nice wide plate. I'm going to make sure that everyone gets 2 clams, 2 prawns, 2 pieces of fish. There's a ton of these baby scallops in here. You want to make sure you get the calamari. And there's plenty of juice. Can you see that? It's crazy.
I'm coming over.
All right, come on over here. We'll finish the dish.
Yep. Want to just taste it?
Yep, I am going to taste it. I'm pulling a clam. Hold on. We're going to garnish with a little parsley. Of course. I'm going to put a little pinch of saffron on there.
Keith Brochu is with us tonight. He said, "Oh yum, all favorites of mine." So I'm going to come in real close as you're doing that.
And the final touch, nice dollop of the butter that will be mixed in. All right, here we go. So I'm going to take this. Oh, I don't want to forget my bread. Grab that. Oh yeah, nice and hot. So I'm serving this with sourdough because it's San Francisco, baby. Nice. In there. Beautiful. Mix some of that butter on the bread. Oh yeah. Dip it in. I'm going to try the sauce first. All right, let's see. It is so rich and not salty. A little bread. This is a killer dish. So again, Cioppino. It's a great summertime dish. Use what seafood is available to you. Change it up if you have to. So again, I didn't have those small salad shrimp, so I went with small bay scallops. Use what you have available. Yes, Lynn? You're laughing.
Yes. Paul Florio, I'm having a foodgasm.
Thank you, Paul.
And
it's an honor for me to provide that to you, for you.
And Dave said, "Where's the linguine?"
No linguine for Cioppino. So I'm going to try the little scallops here. Perfect. Fish. Flaky. Delicious. Let's see. You're going to see the inside. You can see it's white. Ooh, hello. White, and it's moist. It's a winner. So I'm going to post the recipe once this video is posted, and after I eat, I'll post it. And Yes, Lynn.
What's the difference between the regular one and with the flour? Do you notice it?
Let me try the calamari. Yeah, it's like a textural thing. It's when you eat the seafood, it's got this coating on there that I actually like. It's not crispy. It's not crunchy. It's just it's viscous. And I like it. So, and it also definitely has thickened the sauce.
And
so, I would do it again.
Rob no probs here, and then Kevin asked, where are the scallops from?
The scallops are from Whole Foods. Don't know where they were from, like their origin, but like I said, I went with the bay scallops because the sea scallops didn't look that great, and I actually like the way they intersperse throughout the thing, so everyone gets a lot of scallops. I like that rather than one or two big scallops. I like having the little scallops. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sign off by saying, be well, eat well, and be kind. Again, gratitude for you joining us. And we will see you next week on the next episode of Cooking in the Kitchen with Chef Eric, the Grateful Chef. That's me. See you guys. Peace.